Hey, everybody, welcome in to Day by Day. I'm James. I'm with Andrew. Andrew, how does it feel to be a Pinstripe Bowl champion as a fan?
Honestly, it probably feels better than it should for the Pinstripe Bowl. Like, did we just win the Big Ten championship, or did we, we're gonna
I think
finish,
it feels, I agree.
country?
Feels pretty darn good. Also feels really good right now. We are watching live Colorado get pummeled by BYU. It's 27-0 as we record this.
Yeah. I'll bet Nebraska could beat them by 18 or so.
BYU or Colorado?
Colorado.
I think, yeah, you're probably right. 18 sounds about right. All right, well, we got a full reaction episode. Andrew took notes. I'm pretty raw. I was doing a little family Christmas today. Didn't have time to think too deeply about anything, but we'll get into it here in a minute. Just wanted to remind you all that you can find the show on characterchronicles.com and any podcast platform that you prefer. Please subscribe to the show. We're working our way toward 200 subscribers on YouTube, which is awesome. Of course, you can subscribe on Apple and Spotify as well. Please like and share. And I will say for this episode, give us a like if you're excited to be the fans of the team that is the Pinstripe Bowl champion. And I would also add, Andrew, let's not forget the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond basketball tournament. What is that? Diamond Head
Classic.
Classic. My gosh, I butchered that. Basketball tournament champions. 2 champions in 1 week. Yeah. We might get into Husker basketball a little bit toward the end. So thanks for joining the show today. So, all right, man, what you got? Thoughts on the game?
Yeah.
They made it needlessly just tense toward the end. And maybe we could talk about that, but I'm thrilled we won. That was the whole goal, right? Win the game, have a winning record, go into the off season with some positivity. But I know you took some notes. What do you want to get into first?
Well, I'll just react first. And I took notes a little bit during the game, just on some points, but observations, but just to react, I think one, I don't know how much of the content you watched throughout the week of the team in New York, and it just looked like a fun time. Like, I'm thinking as a player, we all, as fans, we talk about wanting to go to warm weather places and all that, but looking at what Bad Boy Mowers put on for the team, what the Yankees, all of them put on for the team this week, I was a little envious. I was like, man, if I was a player, that looks like a blast. And so I'm hoping it was good unity, good bonding, and all that for the team. Lots of cool experiences they got to have. And then the game itself, it just felt, I just loved seeing the muddy pants and, players sliding in rain, water splashing. And it felt like a New York gritty, in the Bronx game. So it was fun to see Nebraska out there, doing that to kind of a gritty, historically it feels gritty, like Boston College team. And I felt pretty good most of the game. Felt confident. The defense seemed like they were going to hold no matter what. And they almost did. You can thank our special teams for making it more difficult than it had to be. But overall it felt it was nice to see young players out there. It was nice to kind of just mentally let go of some of the past and some of the players we were so worried about losing in the portal. Yeah, didn't really miss them out there today. Again, I don't know what the competition level necessarily was like, but it just felt very positive. With the exception of the tense moments there at the end. Just a very enjoyable game to watch, and I'm hopeful for next year. So
I agree. I think start with the transfers and, the guys that we hoped would be out there and then they transfer out, and you kind of wonder what's the drop off going to be like. I mean, I had to remind myself the defense did lose a lot of players, a lot of snaps. I don't think the overall talent drop off was that huge, but when you lose a lot of experience, a lot of snaps, that says something. I mean, I will say the defense played really well. They gave up a ton of passing yards and there were tons of missed tackles, but I will say that, you're going to have a new look secondary next year because you get a couple guys coming in. You got a few guys graduating.
Yep.
I actually wouldn't be surprised to see, I won't name them right now, but maybe 1 or 2 guys enter the portal after spring practice.
Yep.
I don't think the scheme is the issue in the defensive secondary. I think it's the talent level.
Yeah.
And sometimes the effort. So that would be my one critique of the defense today was just the secondary played really poor. And then there's special teams, and Rule talked about that after. My gosh, he said we need a complete overhaul. And my thought is, does that mean you need a new coach?
Yep.
Because the coach who's coaching the special teams gave up 10 blocked kicks this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you cannot have that.
No,
it's not Brian. It's not Bushini's fault that a punt gets blocked right up the middle. There were 4 guys that could have blocked that punt.
Yep.
So there's that.
I'm curious just on that point. I'm curious to go back in the season and really look at we know it made an impact kind of anecdotally. We know special teams made a negative impact on the season, but I mean, did it cost us a couple games along the way? Likely. So yeah, I was thankful to hear him talk about complete overhaul. Yep. He's not in denial about it now. Yeah. Whether that means Foley's gone or not, I don't know. Get it fixed. I don't care, I guess. Just it better get fixed.
I mean, you think they had 2 punts blocked against Rutgers and then 1 here against Boston College, and they won both of those games, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Now they had their fair share of field goals that they blocked.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a punt. Maybe we blocked a punt this year. I don't remember that, but yeah, the special teams needs to be addressed, and I think they will. I want to go back to something you talked about. I didn't see a lot of I saw some of the content about the bowl, kind of the bowl festivities. It did look like a fun trip. I put out a thread a couple weeks ago when they announced the bowl games, and I was like, hey, if you're a Husker fan and you can afford to go to New York City at Christmas time because it's magical. It's great. It's fun. I've been there. I lived in New York, and I've been to New York City probably 4 or 5 times. And so it's a great place to visit if you've never been. But I think 2 things can be true at one time. I think they put on a tremendous experience for the players, it seemed like. And simultaneously, this is the first time I've watched a Pinstripe Bowl. I don't think they should ever play another bowl game in that stadium in New York City this weekend of the year. That field was atrocious. You could tell guys couldn't even cut. They're taking long turns to cut. Obviously the ball was slippery. It was like playing with a greased pig. It was fun to watch. I told my wife, I said, this is fun to watch because it's muddy. There's, mud and water splashing up everywhere, but it's not great football. And I'm just like, I know Pinstripe, you got to play in Yankee Stadium. But if you want a game in New York, just play it at where the Giants play so that you get turf, you have a real football field, because, whenever you put grass over an infield, it's not real grass. Like it's temporary grass. They're tearing it out and they got 3 months to get ready for opening day.
Yeah.
For the Yankees. So I was actually a little bit like that first time Banks got tackled on that, or got tackled. He kind of dove for that pass. He caught one-handed, and then like a whole chunk of sod. It's just like in his helmet. I'm like, oh, it's going to be bad. So I was pretty disappointed in the field conditions. But
yeah, and like you said, 2 things true at once. I think on the flip side, the storylines couldn't have really.
Oh my gosh,
with Ramir, and then
let's talk about Ramir.
With Rule being a New York guy, it just felt like a Rule type game. But Ramir, so cool to see that guy go out like that after all the hardship. And
Andrew, I got chills throughout my body.
You got chills, yes.
I mean, so and then you find out afterwards his mother passed away in November.
Yeah.
So a month ago, he comes home. He scores the first touchdown, his first touchdown since 2001.
Yeah, crazy.
And then, rushes for, whatever I think what was his total yardage? I don't know if you have the stats in front of you, but had a great game. Obviously, the run to seal it at the end, like, oh man, I felt so good for him. And here's what I just tweeted this, like, I don't know what he's going to go on to do with his life. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to New York City and became a high school football coach and changed kids' lives for the rest of his life. But whatever he does, I know that Ramir Johnson is going to be successful because for the last 6 years, we saw his resilience and his perseverance. And in a culture that continually tells us, you go get yours, Ramir Johnson was like, I'm going to give and I'm going to give and I'm going to give. And he lived for others. And look at the storybook ending.
Cool. Yeah.
You could make this into a movie.
Yeah. Did you see the stat that he got 1,000 yards, career yards exactly on that?
I saw that. I love it.
Yep. Yeah.
You couldn't write a better story.
I could see him go be a high school coach, or, part of me hopes we just see him on the sideline next year in Nebraska as, GA or something,
I'd love that.
But
and again, and because of his resilience and because of him not bailing and going into the portal, he could have done that. Like, I would hire this guy in a minute.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be successful.
He's a culture guy. He's
a culture guy.
Yep.
He's a culture guy. What were your thoughts on the offense today? I mean, it's an ugly day. Again, I don't think you could take too much from this game. I don't think that's the point. This was, you won the game. The goal was to win. Didn't matter how you did it. It was incredibly ugly. But I'm curious if you have thoughts on the offense.
I made a couple notes just about Dylan. It looked like he played pretty confident. He bounced back after the bad throw, the interception he threw off his, unbalanced throw, which he tends to do. You could argue there was
it not defensive pass interference?
There was 4 of them in that game that were clear.
There were at least 3.
And don't get me started on the BC fans complaining about refs on Twitter. They're like, it's hard to beat the refs. This is a rigged game, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, come on. After one bad, bang, bang play towards the end. But anyway, I felt like, I guess the one thing that just irks me a little bit about the offense and Raiola is just the deep ball. I think he likes to throw it up and hope there's a call, because most of the time he's just throwing it up and hoping the receiver runs to it, which we just don't have receivers to do that. So it feels like there's just a lot of overthrow lobs that you just wonder if it can be more efficient. Hopefully get guys like Hunter and Key in here next year that could make some of those.
I like that he doesn't underthrow. I mean, he's got the arm.
Yep.
And coming out of high school, one of the best things about him that people raved about was the deep ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe he did have better receivers in high school. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to complain too much about not hitting those, because really there's only 2 guys he's throwing those to. And that's Barney, who I don't think is your best deep ball threat, simply because his height is not fantastic. And then Banks. Yeah. I mean, if we had a Samari Toure, a Palmer out there, just a track star, be a little different.
I think those are some catches. So yeah, overall pretty good. I mean, it was a sloppy game. So, do I necessarily blame Emmett for fumbling? It
was a tough one.
I think the run game was serviceable, and as much as we're going to throw it, that I thought the run game was effective.
I liked how they got the tight ends involved.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw both Fedoni and Lyndon Meyer running vertical, which is where tight ends should be moving, and they caught the ball. I don't recall a drop from any tight end. Fedoni still struggles a little bit blocking, but maybe if that's something he can improve even just a little bit. I just think he needs to be on the field when you're throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And again, running vertical.
Harburg even had and Harburg, boy, he
did.
He put a towel hanging down, and all of a sudden he looks like a receiver and some gloves on. So, I think it's exciting to see maybe what he could do next year.
I think he's going to be dynamic with a full off season. And again, talk about a guy who's stuck around. He had a couple chances to transfer. I know he's dating Harper Murray, and I kind of joked with my wife. I think that's probably the reason he's staying.
Yep.
But by the way, I had a dream. This is weird. I had a dream Harper Murray transferred last night.
Oh, yeah.
This is weird. Like, I woke up like, this cannot happen. Like, she can't transfer. And I kind of had to come to myself. I'm not kidding you. I'm not making this up for people on, social media. Legit had a dream she transferred, woke up, and I was like, that can't be. We can't have that. Thankfully, that's not true. But so he's stuck it out too, right? Like, he could have transferred.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. And I'm excited for his senior year. I think he's gonna ball out, and he's gonna have a good year as a tight end. I bet you he throws a touchdown pass next year.
Yeah.
From a tight end position.
I wanted to see more Carter Nelson all year. Obviously,
he didn't play today, did he?
He was out there, I think, he was out there on the throwaway that the BC fans were saying should have been grounding.
I think Banks ran the wrong route.
Yeah. So I don't know. You just look at that room, and Lindenmeyer and Harburg and Fedoni, and you're like, is there, what's Carter going to be? And Carter, I think, can be a little bit more receiver, or at least that receiving threat. But yeah, they got promise in that room for sure.
Agree. The thing that excites me most going into next year is that, in a weird way, Matt Rule is right on track with where he's been historically. And I am so excited that he made the adjustments that he needed to make with his offensive coordinator. And again, defensive coordinator, I think that was a mutual parting of ways. You can watch our last episode. We talked about that. I think he's going to make a change with special teams. You're seeing older position coaches who are on the staff. You got the guy coming in from UCF, who I think is going to really do wonders with your defensive backs.
Yeah.
We have a true freshman quarterback who got tremendous experience this year and is only going to get better next year. By the way, he's the first true freshman quarterback ever at Nebraska to win a bowl game.
And he broke the passing yard.
He broke. Yes, he's now the all-time leading freshman quarterback in passing yards at Nebraska. So I just think that, man, you know what? I'm not saying, Nebraska is going to compete for a Big Ten title or a playoff title, playoff appearance, but I think what you see is Rule adjusting to the new landscape of college football.
Yeah.
Compared to his previous stops. And he's doing what he said he would do. I will do everything to get this place right. And I'm not going to give up. And he's not. And he's fighting for Nebraska. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Hey, and one more point on the offense. What I loved seeing, and say what you will about Raiola, I know a lot of people are annoyed by his antics or his, imitations and whatnot of Mahomes. But I loved seeing him get up and just get in that guy's face after reviewing the play. It probably wasn't as egregious dirty as it felt in the moment, but regardless, he gets up and just headbutt, their face locked, face masks locked, and you like that fire. And I think that kind of was needed in that of that's your leader showing the team, like, we aren't going to put up with the same old story here where we're getting pushed around at the end of the game. So I enjoyed seeing that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing. The quarterback's gonna slide. He's a sliding quarterback.
Yeah.
You could see him giving himself up. Now, here's the thing. If you didn't think he was going to slide, you wouldn't have hit him as low as you did.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I know that people, it was a late slide. It probably was. If you don't think a guy is going to slide, then the way that defender went to hit Dylan would have been hitting his knees, which is also not okay because the guy was going down pretty low. So, yeah, you knew he was going to slide, and you went to hit him with the slide. Whether we like it or not, it's the rule. You can't hit a quarterback when he's going to slide. It wasn't even a bang-bang play. Like, he was giving himself up. Yeah. I got pissed at Dylan on the next one when he slid too early.
Too early.
So one, he slides too late, and then the next one he slides too early. And I'm like, oh, you can't slide.
Yeah.
Just go get the first down. And so I don't think he, I think Dylan has a high football IQ. I think sometimes he worries a little bit about where he's at on the field because I bet you it's being drilled into him. You don't get injured. Don't get injured. Don't injure yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's happened a few times this year. He slid too early. Like, just, it's okay. You know, you're a big dude. You could probably take a hit if you're leaning forward, but man, you got to get that first down.
Yeah.
You got to get that first down.
Yeah.
But was that the one? It gave Ramir the chance to make that 11-yard run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that funny?
It all turned out fun, you know, and I don't think the late hit is all that controversial because it gets called 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was egregious. Where'd that come from? That it's just going to get called whether you agree with it or not until they change rules or what, you know, they're going to call that. And on the flip side, 15 yards, but it was a sizable run to start out for a first down. So it's not like it shifted something in the game today. So
what was more egregious was why didn't Bill OBrien and I like Bill OBrien, by the way.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with him being our coach. I know that, you know, when they were searching for Rule, he was one of the names mentioned. He was going bonkers after that late hit penalty, and he's out on the field 10, 15 yards. And I'm like, you should have an unsportsmanlike flag thrown on you.
Yeah. And I saw on Twitter, a couple people mentioned they think he was directing all that towards Dylan.
I saw the same thing.
But yeah.
Oh, there's an interception for Colorado. Okay.
Hunter?
All right. No, not Hunter.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, any last thoughts on the bowl game? I just want to talk Husker basketball for a couple minutes before we sign off, but any last thoughts?
Defense. I think you saw some different pressures. A little bit there was some delay blitzes that were in there, like Shaver kind of held off and then shot. Shavers is.
He's going to be good.
I tweeted this out, like another Miami linebacker, Levante David. They just really resemble size wise, speed, just kind of the instinct. So he's exciting. Felt like, we won't talk about specific guys, but the secondary missed tackles, some bad angles. Hopefully that corrects itself one way or another. And then, on the broadcast, they said Ty Robinson, Kuiper has him as the fifth best D lineman in the draft.
Okay.
That felt high from what I've heard. I agree with it, but I was a little shocked that that's what Kuiper has him at. So that's exciting. That's all I had for defensive side. I think you saw some of the John Butler impact out there. So
yeah, I think again, you know, I wrote a Husker Corner article earlier this week about next year. I don't care if Nebraska runs a 2-5-4. I don't care if they run a 2-3-5. That's neither here nor there for me. What I want is for the defense to play fast and free and attacking and go get the ball. That's what I want. You know, bend but don't break. You know, I don't care about all that stuff. Just play fast, play free, play simple, so that you can gang tackle and you can go get the ball. And again, today it's not a great day to judge that, because when you're running on a field like that, the offense always has the advantage because the guy knows where he's going with the ball and you don't, and it's hard to cut. And, you know, I'm surprised nobody got injured, to be honest with you, you know, in a game like this, on a field like this. But I'm confident with the coaching staff. They have the guys they're bringing in. Like, you're going to see a defense play hard and fast. Doesn't mean they won't make mistakes next year. I mean, you're losing Ty, you're losing Nash. You know, you're losing John Bullock. You know, Gifford struggles in pass coverage, but he's smart and he helps people, you know, get in the right spot. But you're losing him. Singleton, I think, is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Hill's gone.
Javin Wright, they're fighting for us.
7th year.
Right. But
man, I only had 4. You got eligibility.
Yeah.
There's all these millennials out here. Let us go back to college for a couple more years. So yeah, they're losing a lot, but I think they'll bring in some talent, and I think they'll play hard and fast. That's all you can ask. Just like play hard, play fast. And if the offense can get to 30 points a game, you're going to win a lot of games.
I agree.
All right. Let's quick pivot here and let's talk some Husker hoops. We won the Diamond Head Classic. I'll just call it that so I don't screw up the name again. Anytime you win a tournament, it's good. Competition wasn't great, but they did what they were supposed to do. Man, I feel like their defense is suffocating.
They are.
Like, I struggle to breathe watching them play defense. I'm like, I don't know how these teams, I don't know how you can't get a shot off a lot of times. So I'm just super impressed with their defense. And then there's Bryce Williams, man. Like, he is playing at an elite level.
He is.
And I hope it can carry on into the conference season. I think they're going to need him to do that. I don't know if they're going to need him to get 30 every night. But man, if he can go for 20 to 22 every night and those occasionally, hit 30, 35, I think this team's going to go a long way.
Yeah, he feels like, in those moments where there's a bit of an offensive lull and it hasn't been, you haven't seen much of him. It's like that safety net. Or it's like, okay, well, at least we got Bryce. Like, get Bryce going and we're fine. And that you saw that happen a couple times where it's like he comes in off the bench, after getting a rest or whatever, and things take off again.
100%. There were times where I was like, it's just like clear out and he takes it to the hoop and he's going to get a bucket.
Yeah. He's confident. And I thought Andrew Morgan played really well. I think it was a game 2. He kind of disappeared game 3.
He had a double-double.
Yeah. I think you saw some promise there. Did we see Gavin Griffiths play at all?
No. So that's interesting to me. So Gavin's kind of out of the rotation now. And Sam is getting his minutes.
Yep.
And which is unique, right? Like Sam and Gavin are not the same player. Gavin's got 7 inches on Sam, but Sam plays better defense. And Gavin just at times just kind of looked lost. So we talked about that, right? Like he just kind of looked lost out there. I don't know if he'll come back and.
Yeah, maybe he's one of the late season guys that just kind of comes out of nowhere. Needs a little more time.
It seems like they got their 8 guys that they're playing with, and they're going to roll with 8, which is fine until you get into foul trouble. I love Burke and what he's becoming. I know he got that injury against South Dakota, and that kind of slowed him down for a couple games. But, when he's on, I feel like Nebraska's hard to beat. Because he gives you another threat down low. He's good for a couple 3-pointers a game, and he plays great defense.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a wall. I mean, he's 6'10", and he's thick.
Yeah,
it's like it's hard. You can't. But he's in a weird way, he's kind of finesse. Like you can't just run around him.
Yeah. I think we missed Ulyss a little bit. I felt like Worcester had 100%. A little bit of some struggles hanging onto the ball. Defensively a little bit.
Raleigh he did 2 games he struggled, and I think it's because that change up that Ulyss brings isn't there.
He's your point guard, but he almost feels like a little bit more of a role player in my mind when Gary and Williams are going. And just to have 2 solid point guards out there, going to be that luxury you need. But
yeah, and I hope that he's just going through a little slump. But you're right. Like when Bryce is on, it's like Bryce could just bring it up the floor and do his thing and score.
Yeah.
And you don't need Raleigh, which sucks. You don't want to say that about your point guard. But, Raleigh's at his best when he can quickly distribute or drive to the lane. But, man, in those 2 games, how many layups did he miss?
He missed layups.
He just missed a lot of layups, and you just can't do that.
And he turned the ball over quite a few times, just kind of dribbling into traffic and stumbling.
I know.
But get that.
Well, they got a game on Monday against Southern. I'll be there, and then they got the big game against UCLA. And UCLA is top 15. No, it's actually at home.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's at PBA on the 4th. I can't remember what UCLA is ranked. I'm going to look it up here quick. Everybody listening is probably already know what they're ranked. Looks like they are
top 10.
Oh my
right?
goodness, top 10.
Yeah.
I can't find them. Doesn't matter. 22. They lost. Looks like they lost a game. I don't know. Anyway, so that's a big game. I hope that Nebraska can pull one out. It looks like they played Gonzaga today. I don't know how that game turned out, but all right.
Exciting times and off-season football is always exciting around here. So
it is. The off season has officially begun. Maybe next week we can talk about maybe kind of just your biggest highlights from the year, what you were most disappointed in, most impressed with, and we can kind of give a recap and tie a bow on the season and then officially fully move into basketball mode.
Yeah.
So great. All right, everybody. Well, again, thanks for listening and tuning in. BYU is about to score. You're probably listening to this relishing the fact that Colorado got bounced out of the water at the Alamo Bowl. So wherever you are, whenever you are, we thank you for listening and tuning in. Hope you have a great new year and a happy 2025. And hopefully 2025 is good to Husker football and Husker sports. So
thanks for watching this season. And we will try not to slow down because there's, like we said, plenty to talk about, including Nebraska ball. So
plenty to talk about. All right. Well, Andrew, great to see you, man. Hope you have a happy new year.
You too.
All right, everybody else. We'll see you. I'll be that guy. I'll see you next year. We'll see you next time. All right. Go Big Red as always. Take care.